Euranet Plus Panorama is a weekly review of European news broadcast by our network of EU radio stations.
Hi there, I'm Jo and you're listening to Euranet Plus Panorama. While Europe was celebrating Europe Day last Saturday, Moscow's annual 9th of May parade was radically scaled back. What, if anything, can we read into this? In an unexpected twist, Russia's usually bombastic Victory Day parade this year contained no major military equipment and lasted just 45 minutes, making it one of the most understated ever. In addition, in the speech he made at the event, Vladimir Putin sent some mixed messages. In amongst some tough talk of an inevitable Russian victory, President Putin suggested that the war in Ukraine may be nearing its end, and even alluded to the possibility of a face-to-face meeting with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, but only once a lasting peace deal has been agreed. Putin's changing tone is a major talking point in Europe. Is he finally on the back foot? And is this an opportunity we should be trying to seize? Lithuania's Žinių Radijas puts these questions to Conservative MEP Rasa Juknevičienė. And again. Lithuania's Žinių Radijas puts these questions to Conservative MEP Rasa Juknevičienė.
Intelligent people understand that Putin's Russia is losing, or, to be more precise, that it has not gained anything in 5 years. I'm not saying that the war is over, but even in the European Parliament, I'm increasingly hearing that Russia is losing, that Russia has won nothing, and not just from politicians in our region, but also from those working in the fields of security and defense policy. So it is time for us to realize that Ukraine needs our help now more than ever.
Putin seems keen to see his bosom buddy Gerhard Schröder playing the role of mediator in any forthcoming peace negotiations, something that EU ministers have dismissed out of hand given the former German Chancellor's long-standing close relationship with the Russian president. But the Lithuanian EPP member adds that even talk of such things is a sign of desperation on Putin's part.
There has been mention of Schröder and that the negotiations should supposedly take place in Moscow. This is utter nonsense, intended solely to help him save face. The message for me is very clear. Europe now has a golden opportunity not only to help Ukraine even more, but to unite in such a way that ensures Putin's Russia actually suffers a defeat.
Putin's former speechwriter, political scientist Abbas Galyamov, who is on Russia's wanted list for his criticism of Moscow's actions towards Ukraine, is less confident that the tide is turning. So what, ask our colleagues at Radio 24 in Milan, does he think lies behind Putin's somewhat contradictory statements and actions?
Putin's tone might sound conciliatory sometimes, but it's probably just because he feels that the demand, public demand to end the war is getting stronger and stronger, and he is trying to give to people what they want. He's kind of showing that he is not dangerous extremist, which he looks like more and more to the Russian public, including elites. So in order to avoid this perception, he is trying to adjust his tone to public demand. But it's not enough to tell that he's ready to change his actions, to change the course, to end the war. So far it looks more like a PR stunt to me.
Yet, given the clear loss of momentum in the Russian campaign, the vast numbers of Russian military casualties, Ukraine's ever-increasing technological capabilities, and waning support from the US president, surely things are not looking good for the Kremlin. In the light of all of this, does Galyamov really not believe peace could be on the horizon?
Well, it's not ruled out completely because he is really under stress. The the situation is getting from bad to worse. I mean, economically, politically, his rating is falling down, and the protest moods are growing. So, in general, the situation demands ending the war. And actually, Trump is suggesting conditions which are not so bad, taking into account in which awful situation Putin found himself. But still, I feel that he still has some strength left, and he might use it actually for even making the situation worse. For example, attacking Europe. It's not ruled out. So to say, before de-escalating, he might want to escalate, to have final negotiations, final settlement from a much stronger position than now.
At a press conference on Tuesday, the 12th of May, Kaja Kallas also gave a nod to this possibility. When asked if the EU was ready to provide Ukraine with all the necessary security guarantees in the event of a ceasefire being negotiated, the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy cautioned that we should not put the cart before the horse. First and foremost, she said, we need to ensure that any ceasefire negotiated is a meaningful one.
We need to see concessions from the Russian side because they are always the ones who are attacking their neighbors. How we can make sure that we don't only have a ceasefire or a truce that would give them possibility to regroup and get their army in a better shape than it is right now, and then to go on attacking. But it would be sustainable and lasting peace that they would refrain from attacking other countries. And that's why we have the discussion with the foreign ministers coming up of what kind of concessions we need to see from the Russian side.
The discussion Kallas is referring to will likely take place at an informal meeting of foreign affairs ministers scheduled for the 27th and 28th of May in Limassol, Cyprus. They will also be looking to identify a suitable figure to represent Europe's interests in any upcoming talks. And, in fact, another former German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, is one of the names in contention. So, changing the subject completely, we welcome back Linda Givetash from the Euranet Plus fact-checking team for less of a fact-check and more of a discussion about the increasing need to fact-check the content to which we are all exposed. Hi, Linda.
Hi, it's great to be back.
So, specifically, we're talking deepfakes. Tell us what these are and why they matter, Linda.
The creation and distribution of deepfakes, which are images or videos generated with artificial intelligence and designed to impersonate an individual, are on the rise globally. Deepfakes have the power to sway politics and elections with engaging disinformation. Yet, with the years of this technology now available to us, the World Economic Forum has pointed out that the greatest damage caused thus far has been a rise in harassment and social engineering.
Indeed, deepfake images and videos can now be so realistic that mere humans often can't tell they are fake at all. And they're put to a range of nefarious uses. Deepfake impersonations of politicians or public figures are being widely used, for example, to trick users into sending money or sharing sensitive data. And global research firm Infotech Research Group reported in March that deepfakes are rapidly emerging as a new class of cyber attack that bypasses traditional security controls by exploiting human trust, exposing organizations to fraud, data theft, regulatory risk and reputational damage. But a roundup of cases reported by the Euranet Plus network has revealed one key area in which deepfake use is even more prominent. Can you tell us more, Linda?
A major issue across the European Union is the use of sexual deepfakes that is fueling gender-based violence online and disproportionately targeting women and girls. This includes harassment, reputational damage, and extortion. Everyone can be a target, with incidents ranging from celebrities to private individuals. There have also been a rise in cases among minors and in schools, as reported in Spain, Belgium, and other countries.
So essentially we're talking about fake porn here. But surely this only accounts for a minority of deepfake content, doesn't it?
The United Nations has pointed to a 2023 report by the security firm Security Hero that found that 98% of all online deepfake videos are made with non-consensual pornographic images, often referred to as deepfake nudes or fake nude images. AI tools and chatbots like X's Grok have enabled mass creation and sharing of explicit content, sometimes affecting hundreds of millions of users.
Wow, 98%. That figure is quite staggering. Obviously, we hear about the high-profile cases, but I had no idea fake porn was so prolific. And yet, according to UN Women, less than half of all countries have laws that address online abuse, let alone ones that specifically address AI-generated content. I guess this is where some of the better publicised cases could come in handy.
High-profile cases have triggered protests and widespread media attention in the European Union, with growing concern about child safety, online abuse, and erosion of trust in digital content. One such case involved German actor Julian Fernandez, who told the press that her former husband, TV presenter and producer Christian Ullman, had been impersonating her online and sharing sexually explicit deepfakes of her. It not only prompted Germany's justice minister to propose a new law to criminalize sexual deepfakes, but Austria as well. Even Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has been victimized by deepfake porn, leading her to take legal action. According to a policy paper by think tank Global Sec, it set a precedent that existing laws such as copyright, personal rights, and image protection can be used to fight deepfake harassment, although it highlighted that modernized laws are needed to prevent and mitigate the harms of technology more effectively.
Many countries and jurisdictions are scrambling to update their legislation to define and curtail these crimes. While the EU has its AI Act providing some protection, the bloc is exploring further tightening laws in response to the growing number of abuse cases. And around 6 weeks ago, the European Parliament approved a ban on AI services that allow people to be depicted naked without their consent. That can only be a good thing.
However, the UN has noted that laws alone are not enough. Strengthened laws need to be met with sufficient enforcement to be effective, and platforms need to be held accountable.
Absolutely. This is not a problem that's likely to go away anytime soon. In the meantime, I guess vigilance is key. On this note, in your report you cite an OECD survey that found that respondents were able to correctly identify true and false content 60% of the time. While this is promising, it still means a significant proportion of content is being misinterpreted. And as technology continues to advance, detection of fake content will only get harder. You also list a number of apps, platforms and websites that can help us check the veracity of the content we're seeing. But can you perhaps share a few hints and tips on basic things for listeners to look out for if they want to check if an image, for example, has been AI generated?
Certainly. Does the image look real or is it too perfect? Does the background make sense for the time, place, weather, and so on? Are there any anomalies, like shadows pointing in the wrong directions? Is there anything odd about the person if there's someone in the photo? Like, do they have too many fingers? Does their skin look too smooth, too perfect? Is the same image available online from a different standpoint and angle that you could perhaps compare it to? Things like that.
That's great, Linda. It's been a pleasure speaking to you again.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so that's all for this week. Make sure you come back next week for another look around the Euranet Plus network.